Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Momatrician. I am your national and international, what I like to call really now, global speaker on youth suicide. I'm a board certified pediatrician. I'm a best selling author times two. And good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's 1 p.m. I know it's a new time. A lot of folks are still having a hard time with getting with the new time, but that's okay. Change is a constant, so we are changing with the times. Hold on, son. Thank you. So we are changing with the times because I have something that I have to be doing every other Sunday at 3 p.m. now, and so I just can't do the 2 p.m. So it's 1 p.m. Central Standard Time in Texas. So it's time for Ask Dr. Lulu. Thank you. I have a couple of people watching on my regular page. No bites yet on Ask Dr. Lulu, and no bites yet on my Parenting Your Teen program page. But you know what? We got to get the show on the road. So if you're wondering what is the pink stuff I have on my neck, hi Linda, adorning the back of my neck, it is my tape for my neck. I do have critical C-spine stenosis, and so I have a hard time with when it's cold and just with the arthritis. Hi Peter. And so it's tough for me. So my physical therapist put the little tape, supposed to help me feel better, that and physical therapy, and we'll see if we're gonna get better. But I digress. So how is everyone doing? Hi Emeka. Listen, today is part 2 of teen suicide. So if you didn't watch me last week, press rewind and scroll up, I guess, and you find last week's show. But this week we're talking about part 2 of teen suicide. And I got a heart. Yay, I love the hearts. As a matter of fact, you know what? Why don't you type, if you're watching me, where you're watching me from? Let's just get you guys to start exercising your fingers. So let me know where you're watching me from. I know Emeka is in San Antonio. I know Pete is somewhere in America. And I know Linda is in Lancaster, South Carolina. I can't see anybody else. So if you're watching me, please do me a favor and type. My brother is in the building. What's up, Chris? We're talking about part 2 of teen suicide today. So I'm really excited. But so just a quick review of last week. We talked about, in the wake of the 2 suicides in Nigeria, we had 2 Nigerian teen girls kill themselves the week before. And of course, the week before that, we had the football player in America called Bryce Gowdy. And so the whole thing was really kind of based on him, loosely, the fact that he left many, many, many signs. Many signs, too numerous to count, and we went over some of them. Hi, Annie from Nigeria, yay! And of course, my brother is also in Nigeria. But he left too many signs, too numerous to count, and so we wanted to start talking about these. So, hi, Mary Tinsley. These signs, we talked about them. We said he was agitated a little bit towards the end. Back there, they described him as being paranoid in the last 3 days. They said he was really, 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 really worried about the fact that his family was homeless. And then if you know anything about me, I'm talking about, I've talked about the fact that stress or trauma is such a big deal in children's lives and in the lives of people who attempt suicide and who end up dying by suicide. Trauma is a big thing. The child has never been reported as having any history of mental illness. And you know what I fight, right? I fight that narrative of only mental illness leads to suicide, when you and I know is not. This little guy did not have any prior record of mental illness, but the last few days of his life, he kind of got really, really agitated and was calling everybody. He reached out a lot. He reached out to his aunts and uncles often, is what the news report said. Often. How many 17-year-olds, how many teenagers you know that reach out to their aunts and uncles often? It's unheard of. The night before he died, or the night of his death, he had called his uncle, then he texted his uncle, then his uncle said he heard some argument in the background and went back to sleep. I mean, it's just craziness, And then his mother sent him to the car and he did the unthinkable. He left his wallet, his shoes, and his phone. Cell phones and teenagers are like this. They do not leave each other. And so this little guy left his cell phone in the hotel room. His parents, or rather his mother, was homeless. They had no money. So of course he was concerned about them. And he kept on asking, the report says that he kept on asking, are you all going to be okay when I'm gone? Are you all going to be okay after I'm gone? So of course, hi Tiffany, thank you so much for watching. And she says she's tuning in. Tiffany's in San Antonio, Texas. Tiffany, we're asking folks to please type where they're watching us from this afternoon. So he I don't know what I was saying, but anyway, bottom line is he was stressed out about the fact that he got a full scholarship, okay, to go to Georgia Tech for business, I think. So you would think this kid's got everything going for him. He got a full scholarship, but he was homeless. And imagine what happens the first week of school in college. Everyone is asking, hey, how are you? Where are you from? Where do you live, right? And he's going to be like, well, we're actually homeless. That is stressful, okay? So we don't know his own side of the story because we can't ask him anymore. But you and I know that that is a very, very stressful thing for a teenager. And, you know, everyone's resiliency level is different. That might have been the last drop that kind of did him in. We don't know what else he's been dealing with. But we do know he was a star football player. And we know that if he had been struggling with mental illness, it's unlikely that he will be delivering on the court or on the football field in this case, right? So I don't believe the record because there's a report there that he and his mother had mental health issues. Of course, there was no diagnosis because there isn't one. However, he was adamant that, or rather they are adamant that the last few days of his life, he was really, really stressed out and it was not good. So if you're just joining me, today is part 2 of teen suicide. And we just did a quick review of last week's episode where we talked about little Mr. BG, who we lost on the day before New Year's, because he was, we now see in hindsight, he was really, really struggling with significant overwhelm. So if you're watching me today, you know any of your friends that need to be watching, please, please share this video. Share it with them. A lot of people don't know what they don't know. So if they don't know that there's someone like Dr. Lulu who does these things every Sunday, they're not going to know, right? But you do. So you can share this video. And of course, please tag me. I want to see at least 10 shares before this event is over. Because I know you guys are like my people, like you are. There's 12 of you watching me now. So all 12 of you, if I can get 10 of you to share this video, that's 10 more lives that you're impacting by, spreading the message and joining me in fighting youth suicide or just fighting suicide, period. So today's topic is part 2 of teen suicide. We're going to talk about what can you and I do. What can you and I do? Hi, Millie. Hi, Nene. Hi, Iyanu. What can you and I do to help the fight to stop, quench, kill, abort, sabotage, whatever the adjective you want to insert there, suicide? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do today is talk about that. So I came up with a mnemonic based on the fact that the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention has 2 hashtags. The first hashtag is silence kills, which you and I know, of course, if you're not talking about it, you're going to die in your silence. 1 second, please. 1 second. I tell you, never fails. Sorry about that. So, but yeah, so I came up with this mnemonic based on the fact that the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention has 2 hashtags. One of them is silence kills, because you and I know that if you're silent with your problems, you're literally going to stay in your problems. If you have diabetes and you don't tell your doctor that you have symptoms suggestive of diabetes, your doctor is not going to diagnose you with diabetes. You're not going to get the treatment that you need for your diabetes. Okay? If you have asthma and you don't tell your doctor the symptoms of asthma that you have, your doctor is not going to know that you have asthma and therefore help you with the things to use to help you help with your asthma. So same thing with mental illness, mental anguish, overwhelm, stress, all of that. If you don't talk to people about it, if you have a family member who is going through this, if you are going through this, your neighbor is going through this, your child is going through this, and you're not talking about it, if they are not talking about it, you're not likely to know, one. Two, he or she is not likely to get any help, or you are not likely to get any help. So I guess the first thing to do is to hone into your own self and know that you need help. And then, of course, reach out. Last week, we talked about the fact that Mr. Bryce reached out, but we don't believe he reached out far enough, or he reached out, or possibly he reached out to the wrong people, because there was no mention anywhere of the fact that he had gotten any help. And I read and combed through 23 of those news reports about him. I didn't see anywhere where they mentioned that he got help. But they did say he reached out to his family members, and they all agreed that he was stressed out, but they kind of thought it was just back to school jitters and just issues with going back to school, and that was it. But now, in hindsight, we see that he was saying, will you all be okay when I'm gone, as a way of saying, I'm going to kill myself. And that's one of the things that teenagers, especially, one of the signs of suicidality in teenagers is verbalizing, either talking about death, or talking about leaving, or talking about they're not going to do something anymore, or, of course, giving away their stuff, being agitated, becoming more restless, becoming more reckless, sleep problems, appetite problems, and change in mood is a big deal with teenagers. Like a child who used to be very quiet is now more subdued and withdrawn. A child who used to be very withdrawn is now an extrovert because they've made up their mind, right? They've decided to do it. So just be on the lookout. I'm not going to sit down here and tell you that it's easy to spot the signs of suicidality, because it's not. However, what to do will help you. So let's jump right to it. I have my little cheat sheet here. So if you are me, or if you are the helper, okay, you are the person who just happens to be there when your child or your teen or your best friend or your cousin or your nephew or your neighbor, your coworker tells you, if you are lucky, if you are blessed enough, because it's an honor, if you are blessed enough for someone to voice out the words to you that they are feeling like killing themselves or like they are suicidal, if you are that lucky, what do you do? So the most important thing is to, I don't know if you're watching me, and hi Millie, oh my God, I've got a bunch of people. Hi Joshua, hi Ifani, please type in for me where you're watching me from, okay? If you are one of those people that have been blessed enough to be chosen, to be the one in the know about somebody's suicidality, the first thing you want to do is, if you've read that book called Lean In, tune in, okay? So tune in is part of my mnemonic that I came up with called TALK, T-A-L-K. So if you are the helper, you're the person that happened to be told, the first thing you want to do is tune into their energy, right? Tune in, even if they don't tell you verbally, maybe their body language tells you that there's a problem. So tune into their body language, tune into their story, right? Tune into the fact that I know this lady just lost her son in an accident, or I know this lady just lost all of her money, she's struggling financially. I know this lady has had a series of unfortunate events. I know this guy's family all died in an accident, whatever. Something really, really traumatic. Because if you know me, you know I talk about mental anguish and not mental illness as the root of suicide. So if you tune in to the dial, the correct dial on the radio station, in other words, you can be listening to the radio, but not on the right station. So you need to tune into the right station. How are they looking? How are they feeling? What are they saying? What's their body language? What is the story that you know about them? This is a guy that you know is always so happy, and now he's not as happy, or whatever. Just tune in is the T in talk, okay? So the answer is talk. That is the mnemonic, is talk. So T, for you, the helper, is tune in to the right dial, okay? Then the second thing is you want to ask them directly. There's no room for beating around the bush, people. There's no way of saying, is it possible that, is it like, no. Come out and just say, dude, are you thinking about hurting yourself? Are you thinking about suicide? You have to ask, because you know what I always say? It is easier for someone to say yes than I need help. We all have our pride. We all have our whatever that we don't want to admit, that we have our weaknesses. We don't ever want to admit those. So indeed, it is very, very, very difficult for people to open their mouth and say, I need help. It is. Because we all want to be seen as perfect Robin Williamses, right? Perfect Anthony Bourdains, right? But we are not. So it is easier for them to say, you know what? Yes, as a matter of fact, I have been. Or, thank you so much for asking. Or, thank you so much for being the one, or something. So definitely when you tune in to the right station, then you ask them the right question. Now, here's the other thing. When it comes to asking, you want to ask directly. You want to make sure that you are direct when you're asking the questions. Don't mince the words, but also ask calmly and ask with compassion. Now, you all know me. I'm all about compassion as the big brother of empathy, right? Empathy is, oh, I feel your pain. Compassion is, oh, I feel your pain. How can I help you? Okay? So you want to ask directly. You want to ask with calmness in your body, in your energy, and you want to ask with compassion. So those are the three things. So that's A in talk. Then you want to now let them know that you are here for them. You're here to help. You are here to take them to help. Remember, a lot of people don't want to ask, and they certainly don't want to go to the doctor. And I know why they don't want to go to the doctor. When I went to the doctor with my own history of suicidality, I was branded right away as having depression. And right away, I was pumped with antidepressants. But that was not the problem. I've never had depression before, and I've never had depression after. But I had a depressive crisis or a depressive episode. So while I'm not dogging the antidepressants, truthfully, that's not what I needed. I needed someone to listen to me and ask me what happened and how can I help, in the sense that I had just had a major financial crisis. And quite frankly, antidepressants weren't going to fix it. So that's what I'm talking about. I need you all to please tune in, ask the right questions, and let them know you are here to help. Let them know you will take them by the hand to help. Let them know you will be there for them. Because it is someone whose spirit is completely broken, near them completely finished, that is suicidal. They need you to be compassionate. They need you to have no judgment whatsoever. This is not the time for you to be judging them. I have someone on my Parenting Your Teen program page. Yay! Can you please show yourself? Say something. Oh my God, I'm so excited. But yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. Essentially, you want to make sure that this person who's decided that you are worthy of them to share their indignity with you, their bottom ground level with you, let them understand and know that you are there to help them, and that's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You are there for them, and you're going to be there for them until further notice, okay? So that is the L. Let them know that you're here to help. And then the K in talk is keep in touch afterwards. So who is watching me and knows or has heard about, or you know that when somebody's child dies or when they've had something bad happen to them, everyone is there for the first week, everyone is there for the first, month, everyone is there for even the first 2 or 3 months. But then 6 months down the line, there's no one there, right? 1 year down the line, no one is checking on them anymore. So you want to be that person who is also going to check on them further down the line. You want to be the person, I'm doing just fine, I got this. 9 times out of 10, they don't get it, right? So the first thing you want to do is tune into them and then ask them, and then of course let them know that you are here for them. You're going to take them to the doctor, you're going to take them to the counselor, you're going to take them to church, wherever they choose to go. Because generally, remember, when you're suicidal, you are, let me use the word, let me not say choose to go, but it's good to give them, to take them to where they're going to be comfortable, let me put it that way. But some people don't want to go at all. So sometimes you have to just take them. But if they are sane enough to say, I want to go here, then take them there, because they probably feel more comfortable there. You want them to be able to go to a place where they're going to be open and have a conversation anyway. So you want to do that. Then you want to be the one at the end. K is keep in touch. Be the one to keep in touch and make sure that they know that you are there for them no matter what. Okay, we have a few people joining us. Trina Boyd, Maria, Chika, Sogwa, Okechukwu, and then Miss Elizabeth Tova Atherton. Thank you so much for joining us. We're talking about teen suicide part 2 today, okay? So we just talked about the first part of today's talk, which is the person who is the helper. What should you do if somebody tells you this kind of thing? It's a shock, there's no question. But you need to remember at that moment that you need to get yourself together really quick, because Dr. Lulu told you that you need to get yourself together really quick and be there for them. At that point in time, it's really not about you. I know how hard that is, because my son has verbalized that to me before, and I had to take a deep breath, and luckily for me, I had help, and so I was able to, harness the help in the house, and we were there for him. But it was not easy. I'm not going to pretend. However, you can't focus on you. You must focus on them. So the second part of this is you, the person needing help. If you are the person who is suicidal, honey, we've all been there. I have been there. It's not something that, I'm unproud of. You know why I say that? Because it is part of my history. It is part of my makeup. It's part of why I'm doing this today. So it was a necessary journey for me to go through to be doing what I'm doing today. So sometimes you need to thank God for your wounds. Thank God for the gifts of suffering, the gifts of depression, and the gifts of all those trials and tribulations that you've had, because indeed they are building blocks, right? And I'm here today because I have been suicidal, because I have looked it in the eye. I didn't attempt, but I was close to it. So I know exactly from whence I come. If you are the person who is struggling with this right now, here are the 4 things you need to do for yourself. Also, the word talk, okay? T-A-L-K, also the word talk. So T for you is to tell someone, okay? As much as we all like to be gangster and, all like to believe that we got it, sometimes we don't get it, right? So you need to tell someone. You need to come down from that high level of I got this and tell somebody. And once you tell somebody, I promise you, yesterday at my event, one of the teenagers said that, he never really wanted to talk to anybody. He didn't want anybody to know that he was depressed. But once he started talking, and Adam was there, Adam is my witness, he said he felt better. We all feel better. That is why the second hashtag by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is Talk Saves Lives. Silence kills and talk saves lives. So if you're watching me and you can, please type it down for me. Type in silence kills and talk saves lives. Okay, so you want to talk. So T is tune in to yourself, but also tell someone that you're not doing so good. Tell someone that you're feeling bad. Tell yourself that you're feeling bad, okay? And then A is allow them into your space. Allow them to help you. That means you probably need to pick the right person, right? Because if you pick the wrong person that's going to start preaching the gospel to you, then we're kind of missing that point. Not that the gospel is wrong, but at that point when you need help, You don't need to be hearing that. You need to be going to someone that can help you feel better. And so they are not supposed to be telling you about themselves and how their dog ate their cat. No. At that point, they should be trying to tell you that it's okay to not feel okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. And it's thankful to you for telling them how you feel. Because let me tell you something. You might think your wife, your husband, your child, your brother can read you. Your parents can read you. They can't always read you. Not all of us are blessed with that gift to be able to read someone and know that, yeah, this person is going through something. Some of us do, some of us don't. So help us help you by telling us that you're not feeling well. By telling us that you're not doing well. By telling us that you're suicidal. Say the word already. Take the sting out of it. Take the power out of it. Okay? And allow that person to help you. That's A. And then L is, you need to leave that space. Leave that space in your head. Leave that space in the house. Because think about it. Leave that space at work. Leave that car that you're thinking of using to drive off the highway. Leave the place mentally and leave the place physically. Leave your house if you have a gun. Leave your house if you have a sharp knife. One of my colleagues used a knife to kill himself. It doesn't have to be a gun. You leave your house if there's anything you've identified in your house that you could use to kill yourself, i.e. medications, a jump rope, whatever. Leave that environment right now, because a lot of times that feeling is temporary. Temporary doesn't mean it's 5 minutes. It could be 20 minutes. I don't know. But a lot of times it is temporary. So leave the space. Okay? And the other L is love yourself enough to want to fight for yourself. Love yourself enough to want to live. Love yourself enough to want to make some changes. Obviously, there's stuff that's gone wrong, right? In my own case, it was financial. I had to love myself enough to say, okay, what can I do about this? What are my options? A lot of times we can't see the options because you know how they say when you're in the picture, you can't see the frame. A lot of times we can't see past this little border of thought process right now. We can't. That is because we're mentally anguished, we're mentally broken, we're physically broken, we're completely broken at that moment. And so it's very, very difficult to be able to see past that moment. So you need to tell someone, you need to get out of the space, you need to get out of your mindset, because your mind can tell you lies. It has happened many, many times. Hi, Nicole. Okay, and then the last one for K, for talk, is know your triggers. Know, is it a bad marriage? Is it the divorce? Is it the breakup with your boyfriend? Is it the death of your child? Is it the financial problems? Is it the toxicity at work? What is it that's triggering this feeling of, you know what, I'm done with life? Know those triggers, because you can't come to someone to help you if you don't tell them what's causing the pain. Most teenagers who die by suicide don't want to die. Most adults who die by suicide don't want to die. They want their pain to stop. So you need to know the pain, name them, right? So that we can help you tackle each one. Okay, so K is know your triggers. And the second K is kindness to self. Be kind to yourself. Be kind enough to yourself, because self-compassion is not selfish. Self-love is not selfish. Anything good is not bad. It cannot be bad if it's good, right? So that's your 8 or 9 or 10 things to do. So if you're the victim and if you're the helper, I just gave you the little breakdown. Talk saves lives. Talk therapy. Talk about it. Tell someone about it. A problem shared is a problem halved or 3/4, depending on, who you're putting your burden on, right? And the person who is on the receiving end, now it's not easy. I'm not trying to say it's easy at all. And there is something called suicide contagion or suicide contagion, whereby someone died by suicide, and then you're like, you know what, if they could do it, then I could do it too. So a lot of times it is dangerous, it is difficult, it is hard, but it's doable. That's the bottom line. It is doable. And so today's talk was part 2 of teen suicide. We just finished. I'm really going to be trying to keep these talks about 30 minutes from now, and we're at 31 minutes. If you're just joining me, you kind of missed the party, but don't worry about it. I'll do a replay, and I'll also you can just rewind, and I'll just have a watch party or something. So if you have any questions, please let me have the questions. But that was the topic for today, was teen suicide part 2. What do you do? What can you do about it? What are the options? And I kind of shared them with you. So thank you all so much for watching me. It's always a pleasure to be here. And yes, this is a new time. It's going to be 1 o'clock from now on, because I have a gig that I have to be at 3 o'clock every day. So I don't want to be rushing. So if I'm doing the 2 p.m., then I don't want to deal with that. So I'm done already with the talk today. Hi, Lily. The party's over. I'll see you guys next Sunday. I don't know what the topic is going to be. You know how I am. Something will come up and we'll talk about it. That's for sure. So thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Momatrician, a global speaker on youth suicide. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Best-selling author and board-certified pediatrician. I'll see y'all later. Peace. Happy Sunday.